I once spent $400 on a vacuum because of a single number on the box, 250 air watts. I had no idea what an air watt was. I just knew that 250 of them sounded like a lot more than the 140 on the cheaper one next to it. So I bought the famous one, brought it home, and about 8 minutes into my first real clean, the battery died in the middle of the kitchen, and I ended up on my hands and knees blowing a trail of dry cereal across the floor like it had personally insulted me. That $400 vacuum taught me one thing, and it's the only thing that actually matters when you buy one. The big number on the box is almost never the number that decides whether your floor gets clean. Motor wattage tells you how much electricity the thing draws. Peak suction, that giant figure printed in bold, is measured in a lab with no brush head, no full bin, nothing in the way. What you actually want is the suction that survives all the way down at the floor in the mode you'll really use. With the bin half full of dog hair, the brands keep that number quiet, and once you know that, the whole pricing game falls apart. Because the people who test these things for a living, the ones running controlled pickup trials and tearing machines open on camera, keep landing on the same uncomfortable answer. A lot of the cheap stuff isn't just acceptable, some of it quietly outcleans vacuums that cost 5 and 6 times more. Here are 5 of them, the ones everybody walks straight past. Start with the Eureka AirSpeed. Most budget uprights weigh around 15 pounds. This one weighs 7.7 pounds. And yes, the marketing leans on a 700-watt motor, but ignore that because 700 watts is just how hard it pulls from the wall. The reason it works is boring and physical. Eureka built it with a short, direct air path, floor to bag almost a straight line, so the suction barely leaks before it reaches the carpet. Reviewers keep reporting the same thing, that it digs up pet hair and ground-in grit their pricier vacuums left sitting there. One verified buyer just said the suction was amazing and it grabbed dust and hair their old vacuum never touched. It runs $50 to $80. The filter is washable, so there's no refill tax every year. If you have stairs, this is the one. You can carry it one-handed and not think about it. Then there's the Bissell CleanView Compact Turbo. Compact usually means weak, and Bissell never bothered to argue with that assumption. They just let the testing do it. In controlled trials, it pulled up around 98% of debris from carpet, which put it at the front of the budget upright pack. Thousands of owners back that up, most of them rating it 4 stars or higher. And here's the part that surprised me. The turbo brush attachment it ships with actually works with the hose, instead of being the usual throwaway plastic afterthought that comes taped to the box. The whole thing weighs under 10 pounds and costs about 70 to 90. This is the small apartment machine, the one you carry room to room without a sigh, and that little turbo head is genuinely good at dragging cat hair out of couch cushions. Now the Tineco GO203. This is the one that would have saved my kitchen floor moment. It's cordless, 6.5 pounds, and in Consumer Reports, testing it ran 46 minutes on its low setting. 46. On a stick vacuum that costs between $100 and $150. And this is where that hidden number comes back, because the Runtime brand's print is almost always the eco mode figure, the gentle one you'd never actually clean with. On most cheap cordless vacuums, eco mode barely moves a crumb. On this one, eco mode is genuinely usable, and a single cyclone design keeps the suction steady as the bin fills instead of fading after the first minute. The battery pops out and gets replaced, so the vacuum doesn't become landfill the day the cell wears down. Keep it on eco for everyday passes, kick it to max for the 8 minutes a week, you hit a real mess, and you're set. Let me stop the countdown for a second, because if you've ever felt stupid standing in the store, staring at 2 vacuums, picking the expensive one just in case, I want you to let yourself off the hook. You didn't get played because you're bad at this. You got played because the one number that actually predicts a clean floor is the exact number they leave off the front of the box. Everything they put in bold is the stuff that photographs well. Once you stop shopping by the bold number, the so-called premium tier stops looking premium and starts looking like a logo with a markup. Which brings me to the Shark Navigator Swivel Pro. It's corded, about 13 pounds, with a 25-foot reach and a sealed filtration path that traps almost all of the allergens inside the machine instead of leaking them back into the room, which matters a lot if you've got pets or allergies or, like most people, both. In Consumer Reports, testing it passed the clean emissions check comfortably. The bin holds about 40% more than the smaller Shark models, so you empty it less. One owner with 5 cats vacuums the whole house twice a week and just keeps going. It's around $150, which is honestly the worst marketing position a vacuum can be in. Too expensive to feel like a steal, too cheap to feel fancy, so nobody talks about it, while the testing quietly puts it next to machines at twice the price. If you have pets, make this your main vacuum and let that sealed path do the unglamorous work of keeping dander out of your air. And the one at the top, the Dreame D10 Plus Gen 2. This is a robot vacuum doing things that used to live in the $500 to $800 bracket. LiDAR navigation, multi-level mapping, zone cleaning, mopping, and a base that empties itself so you touch the dustbin every few weeks instead of every day. Now, Dreame bumped its suction from 4,000 to 6,000 pascals, and I want to be straight with you about that because 6,000 is a peak lab figure, not a promise about your living room. What actually counts is what showed up in testing, where it lifted nearly 99% of debris across every floor type and pulled up long hair without choking. The honest version of the spec story is that the peak number went up, and this time, the real-world result followed it. One thing to know before you buy, it rolls straight over cords and small junk, instead of going around, so it once swallowed a phone charger like the cable owed it money. Pick the floor up first, schedule it for while you're out, and it's the cheapest robot I'd trust. So here's where I landed after the $400 mistake. The vacuum that finally cleaned that cereal off my kitchen floor without quitting halfway through cost me less than half of what the famous one did, and it never once made me kneel down and finish the job by hand. The expensive box had the bigger number. The cheap one had the suction that actually reached the floor. Turns out those were never the same thing, and the whole time the machine I needed was sitting on the bottom shelf ignored while I paid extra to feel safe.